In this video, we will learn how to create a CAD hatch lines from scratch and how to apply it to a CAD drawing. So let's say that you were given this CAD drawing. It's an old drawing with a mistake in it. And your job today was adding the missing hatch lines to this segment, and you need to add it under the arrow and lines without affecting them. It sounds like a bit of a tedious task with either a lot of edge brushing or recreating the lines and arrows, but it can be done very easily if done the right way. So first we need to isolate the segment. Remember that bucket tool can also fill with transparency, so make sure override alpha is checked, then pick transparent for the toolbar color, then click on each segment to fill it transparent. Now for this last segment I'll make a deliberate mistake to see how do we fix it later. Notice that I will click on this pixel, which might look perfectly white, but it is not, as you can see if you hover over it. An easy mistake to make and one that will bite us later. Now we have the opposite area of the transparency that we need. So invert it and get the opacity all the way down to get the right area. Now you can see it. The mistake is very much visible. To fix it, we will use a level node. Remember that levels and curves work on alpha too, not just colors. Tick on the alpha, then you can move the high clip slider a bit to the left until the segment is solid. Or if you want to be exact, you can put the segment value as the high clip manually. There is no real need for this accuracy in this case, but it can be useful in some cases. Now, these lines gaps are getting in the way, so to remove them, add a dilation and set it to 5. Now they are gone, but we are a bit too big. So to get smaller again, we need an erosion, which is a negative dilation to the same amount of the first dilation. Perfect. Dilation then erosion with the same amount is a good way to get rid of unwanted high-frequency details. Now the segment is ready for the hatch lines. So let's start creating the hatches. First step is to pick a hatch line that you want. There is a ton of them. I'll go with a basic solid line, dash line, repeat. We will see two ways to create the hatch lines. One is more powerful and needs a lot more work. The other is still quite versatile, but less so, and it is much easier and faster to iterate upon. So the way we'll do it in both ways is to make a basic tileable image, then tile it. So let's start with the easy one first, the padding method. Start with Ctrl-N 50 by 50 square, Ctrl-F to fill it white, hit space, then add a pad. Then pad it vertically black by 50 pixels. Then pad it white horizontally by 200, and finally pad it black horizontally 25 pixels. Now connect it to the background as a mirror and transform it. And now you can very easily adjust basically everything quite instantly. Pretty much every spinner controls something unique to experiment with. This method is quite nice as long as this is exactly what you need, as this setup can't make certain things in a simple way. Round edges, for example. But our second method, the shape method, does. You can practically make anything with it given enough time. So let's start it. Start by creating 512 by 512. Fill it with white. We need a solid line and a dash line. Now with this method, you have to be careful about your dimensions. If you get it wrong, the square will not be evenly tileable. To make the tileability easier, we'll create it symmetrically. So I'll split the solid line to the sides. Each edge has a half, and I'll center the dash line. This will pretty much guarantee the tileability. So let's create the line, go to the Shapes tool, pick the square shape, make sure the image is selected, then click on the canvas to create it. This needs to be perfectly precise, so we will not use the mouse and instead we'll enter the exact number in the properties area. We will start with the dash. So first zero out the outline, then let's change the inner color to black. Pick a line width that you want. Now, I want the dash's ends to be rounded, because with this method I can. So increase the corner radius. Then zero out the X and Y position to center it. The length of the dash, surprisingly, is not that important to determine the dash length, but it is important for the gap to dash ratio. You will see why later. I'll go with this length. Click apply, and that's it for the dash. Now the solid line is also quite simple. We'll create the left half first, so click on the canvas again to start a new shape. Then to get it to the left edge, set the X position to -256, which is half the image size. Zero out the Y position and increase the length to cover the whole image, then apply. Now repeat the same for the other side, but with +256 this time. Excellent. Now our base tileable image is ready. Now we need to tile it. There are at least 3 ways to do this. First, you can mirror pad it to the desired size, then transform it. I don't recommend this one, because you will have to be careful that the padding amount will match the square width, else seams will happen. Second way, you can create a background, then mix it with mirror transform in the mix node. This one is useful if you can't go with the third one, which is the simplest and what I'll go with. Use a background to the desired image, which is the original image in this case. So I'll just duplicate it with Ctrl-D and fill it transparent with Ctrl-F enter, and connect it directly to the tileable image, and set it to mirror, or repeat. They are the same in this case since the image is symmetric. Now rotate it 45 degrees, And because we painted the lines vertically, scaling it in the X direction will dictate the number of repetitions, and the Y scaling will determine the dash line length. That's why the dash length was not as important, as controlling it here is much simpler. And we are pretty much done. A tip is that if you want to edit the image, click Isolate, which will disable everything, including the transforms and input image for you to edit as you wish, then enable it again. By the way, if you mix the hatches with itself, you can get other patterns and possible hatch lines. Now finally, to add it to the segment, move it back to the segment and mix it, where it is the image and the segment is both the background and the mask. Then mix the result with the original image with a multiply blend. And we are done. You can make very intricate patterns this way. That's it for this tutorial. Hope you liked it. Don't forget to like if you did. You can download and try CAD yourself and find more tutorials at cadsjam.com. See you next time and take care.